We were born.
Hello and welcome back to the Remembering Tuscola webcast. I'm David Porter. I'm here with Mike Carroll and Bill Englehart, our local experts and dignitaries. And
That's good. I like that, dignitary.
see if I left anything else out.
Big word. How do you spell that?
Dignitary? I'm not too good at spelling.
Should we send you bios so you could read them out next time?
Well, I'll do my best.
Okay.
So, I mean, yours is 60,000 words, so.
Well, I can get it down to 59.
David, is that Spanky McFarland behind you?
That's I thought I'd bring out one of my baby pictures.
That's
Wow.
Spanky McFarland. That's not you. Let me look at that real close. Yeah, that's Spanky,
Looks like Spanky.
except he got blonde hair. Spanky had dark hair.
Yeah, he did.
So that was when your first newspaper job was selling.
My first newspaper job, carrying newspapers out around town, barefooted in my raggedy clothes.
I remember that. Bill and I was state's attorney and you were teaching at the time. David.
Probably.
I know I had to watch you closely, make sure you gave me a dime and not a nickel.
Yeah, yeah. You know, as Yogi Berra said, a nickel isn't worth a dime anymore.
No, never was. Well, I have some interesting pictures for you this week.
Good.
I do not have them. I don't have them posted yet on the Remembering Tuscola site. So you guys have got the first crack at them.
Hey, Dave, before we get our first crack at these photos, I thought your article on Flessers or Gusses, as Bill and I call it, was outstanding. And I think you submit that should win a newspaper award for special feature. That was excellent.
Except there's a typo in the subhead. So
well, correct it and send it in.
I think that's called cheating.
Oh, I didn't see it. Did you see a typo?
I didn't see the typo. I read the piece.
Excellent article.
Well, if Bill didn't see it, then maybe nobody saw it.
Nobody saw it, so don't even.
I kind of rushed it a little bit. I thought I was trying to get it done for this week, and I didn't want to put it off another week. And I think I could have done maybe a little better job if I'd taken a little more time with it. But it's still
you got these great photos that a lot of them nobody's seen. You had the whole family there that we saw a couple weeks ago with Sophie, and you got Paul. You got them working. You took the history of it. You put in great stories all the way through it. I thought it was wonderful.
I'm going to say it.
Well, you say it.
There's a name missing out of that piece.
Well, Bill Skinner, probably.
That's exactly right.
Well, that's because you and I are so close to Bill and Greg.
That's right. But that was a long time
association. There was, before Paul came back and took it over, Bill Skinner worked in there for what, 20 years?
20 plus. And
he was down.
He was in charge, basically. He did it all.
And he made candy, David, back when they made it in the basement, believe it or not.
Yeah.
With the ice cream.
Yeah. And Bill, he worked his tail off. He wasn't family. Gus is real family oriented.
Well, you know, there's a lot skipped over with Paul and Betty too. It's just.
Yeah, you didn't. Paul went out to Washington, D.C. I think he and Betty had a confectionery or candy shop out there, I think.
Maryland, someplace out there.
Maryland, Arlington. And yeah, no, you could have dedicated your whole paper to that. That's worthy of a book.
But there is a whole book written on great confectionaries, and yeah, you only have so much space. It was 1,800 words.
See,
it was a good piece.
It was an excellent piece. So now you know how difficult it is for me to keep my pieces at 800 words.
Mm-hmm.
My original draft's around 2,000 or 3,000, and I whittle.
You know, how many pictures do we have on that spread? About
oh gosh, you had 10 or 12 pictures.
About a dozen pictures. You want to know how many pictures I had that didn't make it on that page?
Oh gosh, 14.
Over 1,000.
Wow.
I guess 14 wasn't right.
I guess not.
I mean,
I think you could dedicate. I really think you could have a special edition to that if you really wanted.
The first day they started taking the bricks down, I took 800 pictures.
Yeah. Well, it's. I tell you what. I'm serious. I don't know about Bill, but when I was growing up, downtown was everything. The Irvin Park and playing ball, and downtown. Downtown was the center of the universe.
Gus's.
And Gus's and Strand Theater.
Strand Theater.
And
yeah.
the Strand was really only the center on Saturday with a double feature.
And
Gus's was every day.
the pool hall.
Well, the pool hall came just a little bit later.
Well,
not when I was a little
yeah.
boy, but in high school, you and I, there's
it was still that way. Now I don't have strong memories of Gus's. I remember Nick's barely, but then Clarence Snyder had a restaurant. I used to go in there some, but then the youth center was where well, I'm not even sure what it is. Is it Atkinson
Grocery
now or
yeah. Corner Grocery.
Well, Corner Grocery used to be, but Corner Grocery hasn't been there for a long time either.
Floyd Grubb's Buick and Pontiac, didn't he sell? Yeah, no, back in those days, and Gus was a character. I mean, Gus was older now, and and so whenever Gus went off on some kind of gruff tirade, it was cute.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because he's not. But I'll never forget the day he's sitting there and he smoked a cigar at the end of that counter. Look over his universe. And Tuscola National Bank across the street where Joe's is at had just put up a fancy new clock and weather thing that actually gave weather forecast. And we're sitting there and a thunderstorm hit. You couldn't even see 20 feet. And the TNB thing said sunny and warm today. And Gus goes, dumb son of a he just made fun of him. It Gus.
We've had some pictures of Gus on our show here, and I couldn't find them. So I went with the one that everyone has used with him holding the cigar.
Yeah, it was. But more than once, I went in there after playing baseball all day out the park with Bill and Craig Webb and Stu Carmack and the gang, Lee Williamson. Remember all that?
Well, Mike, to continue a little bit, that the picture we had of Paul and Betty, the two pictures, and the picture of the family, we wouldn't have had those without this program, because that's
where the one of all the kids. That was classic.
That's where we've dug, those photos have surfaced through the negatives that we digitized.
Yeah.
And
like Bill said, we didn't have Bill Skinner there, or we didn't have we didn't talk much about Chris Voltus, who was a character.
High voltage Chris.
That
was his son-in-law. He was married to Aunt Vi.
Chris opened a cleaning what do you call it? You clean your clothes. What do you call those places?
Dry cleaner.
Dry cleaners up in Champaign on Neal Street, where and he put a big sign out there that said, "Drop your pants here." Chris was quite a guy. Yeah, you could go into that family. Well, Greg Skinner, we could write a paper about Greg, and I don't know if anybody would. I don't know if we'd pass legal muster.
Yeah,
but there's stories and stories and stories. It's just an iconic. Buildings are just buildings. They're not the people. However, sometimes buildings reach a stage of being iconically important.
Yeah.
And when you look at it, it ties you to the past. And my class, there hadn't been a reunion gone by that we don't have something at Gus's, a dinner, a get together, or whatever. In fact, I told my class, probably, what has this been, 25 years this thing's been restored? We had our 25th reunion, I think. And I was the master of ceremonies, and we were inside Gus's, and I told everybody, I said, the city's going on a multi-million-dollar downtown restoration program, primarily to open Gus's. And I did it just so we could have this reunion today. I said, when it's over, I don't care. Everybody laughed. But no, all the classes from that era get together at Gus's.
We did.
We've had a reunion there. And one of the things that I find interesting too is that it's a tourism place, and you've got the old artifacts, the old popcorn machine and the register and the brass cage and the soda fountain and the seats and the mahogany. But even what you don't see in the back room, the way they're making the candy is still using the old 100-year-old equipment, the copper kettles, the wooden paddles, the stone top tables.
The only difference is, once again, those rooms have 15-foot ceilings are well lit, air
That
conditioned.
basement, you could hit your head on.
Think about, Bill. I went down there one time with Greg. I had to bend over, and it looks like a rat warren, but that's where he made candy. And we miss Greg, of course, something tremendously. And
I
his
haven't
mom
seen the
and dad.
basement. That'd be interesting.
Well, you don't want to go down there.
No, you didn't want to go down there.
And I ate a ton of candy out of that basement.
Yep, me too.
No, it's just it's special. I know my class still moans about the Strand burning down, and I think if they had not fixed Gus's up and tore it down, that would be. I know they still get upset when we get together. The schools are gone, the South Ward and the North Ward, and they partially blame me for destroying the schools. And I said I didn't destroy them; they were torn down, and it was an empty lot for years, But people miss their public buildings, and they miss the real important ones. And here's Sherm Marsh, and what's his name? Bill
Hey,
McCarty.
Sherm.
Eli Murphy.
Eli Murphy.
At the bank, counting coins.
That's one of those new.
Is this your way of getting me to shut up? Just start showing photos?
No, I just wanted to segue right in there and
I still had another 5 minutes.
That's a real.
we need something for the end of the show, Mike.
Sherm was probably, this is 1950s.
Oh, this is, man, this is.
What do you think, 50s?
Probably.
Because McCarty came in the
point's it's only worth a point if you get the exact year.
I'd say that I'm going to say this is 1952.
I'm going to say 1954.
They're both wrong. It's 1956.
Well, close enough.
Okay.
First National Bank coin counting machine.
Yeah. Do we know who that lady is?
Well,
I don't have anything on here, and I don't have the pictures posted yet, so I don't know.
Sherm's got dark hair. Well, that's my heart.
well, let's see where this is at. Lovely heart of vitamin D.
Fullerton Bakery.
It is Fullerton Bakery booth at fair, it says. We've got a bunch of these businesses.
Was it over? It was south of the tracks, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was right there where the
Meat market, right where the meat market.
Yeah, it's all that complex right in there.
Yeah.
We've got several booths that it says at Tuscola Homecoming, 1952.
Wow.
The Fullerton Bakery one at the fair says 1940.
That's possible.
But then we move up to 1952, booths at Tuscola Homecoming.
Well, that's a furniture store.
Now these boys here, I bet if we had their names, we'd know.
Well,
She had their names you would know.
Yes, I would know.
well, that boy is familiar. This is 1952.
52s.
That's our era.
Yeah, but I wasn't here.
Well, you should
You
still, yeah, and that's just a second.
I should
52,
recognize
6
him.
years old, 8 years old. That looks like
It looks like someone I know.
But
Yeah.
it's I don't know how you pronounce this. Keeney. But that name is all over the place.
you have a name here on who this is?
Nope. All this envelope says is booths at Tuscola Homecoming.
There's
Let me guess. Since 1930.
Paris. He had a store, but when he died, we did the estate, I think, and it was back when Illinois had an inheritance tax only $176,000. And I remember Miss Pettit went to Springfield because this is the case where they valued the Tuscola store and the Paris store, and she owed a big tax, but yet they didn't generate that much income. That's back when they were just killing small business.
Yeah.
And it went from 170.
Most of the photos we have today are Pettit photos.
Yeah. Yeah. He died probably in 82, 84.
And look, over here in the corner, we have the Pringles.
Yeah.
Kirby.
Yeah,
and Cindy.
that's Kirby.
That's Kirby and Cindy right there.
They had been doing it for about 20 years then.
So now we know where Kirby's got the idea of dressing up his dogs in clothes.
Yeah, from Pettit's. But they never had Photoshop back then, so those are probably real dogs in real outfits. Go to the lower left with the pretty girl up on a split
I was
rail
gonna
fence.
say, is that Becky over there?
That's Becky. That's Becky, her junior year on cheerleading. All those,
Pretty cool.
yeah,
Bell and Howell projectors.
there it is.
Oh, Kahneman's.
Kahneman's were here in the about 56.
No, I want to tell you, look at this modern furniture over here, that chair on the right.
Yeah.
We had furniture from Kahneman's.
Oh, yeah. He
Well,
was
this
it.
is 52, so
Yeah. Kahneman's came down from Champaign. I don't know why he came to Tuscola. Well, he married a Tuscola girl, Bill Huber's sister.
Well, it was wide open. Well, no, you had JR North.
Yeah.
So, but it was still wide open. Tuscola was growing. It was going to grow. 52, the plant.
The plant was just announced.
Yeah, it was just been announced.
They were building on. They were out there digging around. Maybe Bob saw it. Of course, Champaign had tremendous. There's the milk company. Now, in the late 50s and 60s, Irv Eaton owned that, I believe. Didn't he own Seal Test, or did he own Meadow Gold?
Bob Hausman owned it.
Oh, you think it's Bob's when he delivered? What did Irv own then?
He had
Meadow Gold?
Dairy Charm, something like that, up there where Lehman's building
Right.
is.
He had a good milk business.
Yeah,
This is Seal Test. So this is Bob's.
I think so. Although it says Roselle's.
Dad came back from the Navy in World War II.
You might have sold it to Bob.
And I think it was before Bob. And Dad said his first job was driving a horse-drawn milk truck. Oh, there you go.
Dean had a.
This is in a tent. This is a big tent.
yeah.
Look at
Modern
that number. Look at that phone number. It's 473.
and modern appliances there.
Yeah. Well, that was back in the 50s. That was 3 numbers phone number. I remember the pool holes. Because Mom called it all the time to get Dad home.
Get him home.
Get your butt home. Oh, that's Galton. Looks like a Galton Farm Supply.
Galton Grain and Oil Company Farm Supply.
Now, if you had a wide white wall tire, you were in business, weren't you?
Well, my first car, a 66 Ford GTA, had Firestone ovals. And I painted Firestone white ovals. I wanted to, that's how much white meant on a tire. I actually got white paint and painted them.
What do you do? Paint it with a brush?
Yeah. Yeah, nothing to it. If you're an artist.
Tuscola Co-op.
Wow. They filled a tent there.
Boy, they did, didn't they?
What was this at, the fair?
It says Tuscola Homecoming. July of 1952.
Wow. There we go.
JR North.
JR was still alive in 52.
Metal dining set.
Well, that wasn't, see, that wasn't JR. Go back to that one picture. That wasn't Mr. and Mrs. North, was it? They didn't have.
What? That picture?
Yeah, the first one.
Which picture with the?
Yeah, a couple more.
Yeah, that one.
Well, that doesn't look like Mrs. North, but.
Well, that's not Mrs. North.
No.
Maybe they're just people checking out the dining room table.
I suppose it's a metal table.
Yeah. But that's the same table right there.
Yeah.
There's some people. There's Bill and Mike over there in the.
Yeah. We were cut ups back then.
Yeah, we were cut ups.
Looks like Bo Pearson over there. It may be Phil Gass.
Could be. H.E. Todd Plumbing. Harold Todd. Oh, I remember that Fred Smith's lumberyard. That
Mhm.
was on the south side of the tracks on Niles.
It became Tuscola Lumber, didn't it?
Well, it became Tuscola Lumber. Didn't Mitchner buy that building up there? Wasn't that Smith's up there?
That was on the south side, because there's a lumber yard on the north side where the dentist
Yeah.
office is now.
Well,
Yes,
that was in fact, right where the dentist office was, there was a lumber yard, and I think Commissioners bought that, and you still had the concrete foundations, and Bob
Yeah.
Caldwell used to plant vegetables and flowers in there for years.
right.
So where was Smith? Lumber
Well,
yard.
I know the one across south, the one on Nile Street south of the tracks was, I always knew this Tuscola Lumber Company,
Bob Rose worked in there.
and
Mr. Jones.
Mr. Stroll was the manager of it, I think.
Garland.
Garland.
I know,
That's where they built Parkview, was when they developed Parkview, you had to buy your lumber from Tuscola Lumber.
Hmm.
You could have any builder you wanted, but you had to,
That's not.
that was a
demo-
restrictive covenant
It's
back
not
then.
democratic.
Well,
somebody,
lumber's
somebody showed me not too long ago, they're remodeling a house and they uncovered some wood that was marked Fred A. Smith Lumber Company.
Hmm.
Kind of interesting.
Commissioner would know. Commissioner would know.
Oh, gosh, I know her.
That Jane Wood.
This was in that same envelope. I don't know why.
52.
Yeah.
You know, Jane Wood's maiden name. She was, who was the teacher in the 7th grade you had?
Barbara.
No, wore glasses. I don't think of him.
Where was Stacy Drugstore?
Well, you got me.
No idea.
This is 1940 booth at fair. So this would have been with the Fullerton picture.
Where'd you come in? What corner?
Stacy Drug. Never heard that one. Never heard that.
Father Casey. Oh, Father,
Oh,
I have many sins.
I
I've only got an hour.
I
Well,
played 18 holes. I think maybe I'll have a drink.
I have many sins. I've only got an hour. I'll come back tomorrow.
Yeah, we've had a few pictures. This is a younger picture of Father Casey.
Yes, that's in the early 50s.
No,
He was
this is,
Might
okay,
be
you get a point if you get the exact year.
52.
46.
Bill was closer without going over. It was 47.
I knew I was close.
You mean that's the idea? You can't go over? When did that rule pop up?
Well, that's the Price is Right rule, but that's
Oh,
I didn't award any points, Mike, so you're fine. You
good. Yeah, holy cow.
Bill didn't get any points for that.
I'm going to appeal to Judge Mershon.
1947.
Well, that's
someone I don't know.
well, come on.
I just can't. No, that's not.
Well, this is an unmarked envelope.
Well, that helps.
I don't know who that is either.
That's in the 40s. That's Carl O'Connor on the left.
Worked for the gas company. This might be up in the 50s.
It is in the 50s. Guy on the right looks familiar.
It is 1962.
There you go.
And that does look like Carl O'Connor.
He worked for the
it's
gas
Carl.
company.
He worked for the gas company.
Oh, there's Roy Toomey on the left, Amos Albritton. That third guy we should know. Fourth is Carl.
This is some sort of big hookup.
Yeah, they're not quite a ribbon cutting, but maybe just built this shed and got
Looks like they look like Mark.
Yeah,
Mark
it
looks just
does.
like his dad.
Mhm.
This one says Citizens Gas Company.
Turning the gas on.
I guess they both said Tuscola.
Hmm.
Amos on the right.
Oh, this one, the first one at the top it said Pasodum, Illinois, and this one says Hume, Illinois. But it's still Citizens Gas Company, Tuscola. So I don't know if these were installations they put in somewhere else.
Yeah,
Turning on the gas.
there's Roy again. Roy and Amos we recognize. I'm having trouble with everybody else.
Well, I think they're out of towners.
Could
Okay.
be.
Well, that is
This young man's a lieutenant in the service. Oh, gosh.
first or second.
Someone's gonna get this.
First or second lieutenant.
I don't know. He's got one bar, doesn't he? Wait a minute. Who is that?
She looks familiar.
Is that Swihart?
Could be Gaylord and Mrs. Swihart.
The name on the envelope is Tom Wood. And the date taken is February 10th, 1944.
Well, is that Woodswood?
Bill Woods. I
That was
don't know.
Bill.
Hmm.
Oh, he didn't. That looks like her again.
Prom?
No, a wedding photo.
Hmm.
Well, Mike, I'm gonna award you a point for that because the name on the envelope is Helen Wood.
Mhm. Woodswood,
And this is 1957.
right?
Hmm. Yeah.
So this was 13 years, no, 1951. So it's 7 years after the other one. So this
Her
was,
house was on Niles. I get
Across
a
from
half a
Mistress.
point.
Across from Missioners. Well, everybody
Oh,
knows
yeah,
that.
geez,
Everybody
Christmas.
knows that.
but that's,
It's her daughter's
I think you're right. I mean, there she
Oh.
is in
You can call it one of his
1944 and then in 1951.
Yeah.
Check that.
Photos have never, this is the first time they've ever seen.
You know
the-
what, Keith, that might be, yeah, I think that's a 51.
I've been to those woods.
Yeah. Take your camper trailer out there. Okay.
Kellogg?
No, that looks like Center Street to me.
Yeah,
Oh.
it looked like Center Street to me too, when you see the street sign.
Okay, let me see.
Center and.
Oh, that's at the corner of the post office. That's just directly east of the post office.
Yeah. We've got solar panels on it now. Forster's is the third house down there where Gary
Mhm.
lived.
Fred Wakefield lived down there once too.
Yeah.
The name on the envelope is Donna Wagner.
Well, Armstrong's owned it for a while. The owners of the journals lived there for years.
Mhm.
That looks like something during the winter.
1956, during the winter. Ding, 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 ding.
Half a point. Bill didn't know. Initials will help on this one.
HT. Let me double check the envelope, make sure I got the right. Yep, that's the right negative. This is another one of those big 5x7 pettit photo negatives. And the year is 1947. The name on the envelope is Harry Taylor.
Well, never knew Harry.
Look at the fountain pens.
Yeah. Got initials here?
Looks like OFI.
OFI.
And then in parentheses, it says sheriff.
Sheriff.
1938.
Well, you know what? Bruce became sheriff in about 38. This must have been the sheriff right before. Looks like a stern man to me.
Yeah, you would squirt ink in your eye to subdue you.
O.F. Ingram.
I don't remember seeing a sheriff's name with that. That just doesn't ring a bell for Douglas County.
Well, that it says O.F. Ingram, Tuscola, Illinois. Then in parentheses it says sheriff.
Well, we can't dispute it.
No,
We'll have to do a little research on that.
we're
Yeah.
going to.
Yeah.
January 1938.
When was the Burmeister murder?
35.
This is the building the elevators back about 1962 or 3.
Actually about 66. Although,
Actually, you're both wrong.
wait a minute, this is not,
Yeah, it is. There's the F.H. Jones.
yeah, that's the building behind. Now, what I'm going on is Skinner and Beatty worked on that one. I got my senior year, this is in 65, 66, bye.
I'll say just a second. Hey, back. Okay.
How did I do?
Well, you're off by a couple of decades. This is
This is the original elevator.
This is 1946.
Wow, this is the original.
Yeah, I think these are, there's a series of photos. I think these are historically important photos for Tuscola.
I do too.
Well, everything is.
I mean, look at the construction process on the grain
Yeah.
elevator.
What year did he say this was?
46.
1946.
I worked on that. Well, there's.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is what, cement bags, maybe. I don't know.
You know, Bob had pictures in the review office of the actual building of the elevator as we know it now. Jarvis Construction out of Salinas, Kansas. I worked for him. I worked on the Tolono elevator, us guys did.
You can see the old telephone pole with the old glass insulators.
I've got some of those insulators in my backyard. How many? I've got 5 of them. Is that 5 points?
They fall out of the trees or something.
No, we used to go hunt them.
Now there's looking down at
that's
the
neat.
I see. There's
Yeah,
the
look at
Illinois
that.
Central
Isn't that neat?
station,
Well,
isn't it?
yeah.
There's
What are these buildings back here?
downtown over to the right.
Boy, I'm going to tell you, that was tough work back in those days.
Yeah, well, I had to haul concrete up my back to get up there.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if any of these structures are still standing. They look smaller than what's there now.
Well,
You know, that's just a storage dump now for ADM, isn't it?
yeah. Excess flow.
Mm-hmm.
Hard work, all manual labor back then. No big machinery.
I think this is a cool picture too.
Those scaffolds don't look, they're only as good as the nails holding them together, aren't they?
How'd you like to work on that?
Well, we did. I was 1 year old.
It used to come along the sides and pour the concrete down as a filler, and it would raise up. That whole system goes up.
Mhm.
You'll have to find
1946.
those pictures. You'll have to find those pictures. It shows, you know, that was a 24-hour pour. They would go, so there were lights on. Bob had a couple of pictures in the office there to review.
Well, the Holes grocery store, the Hole brothers. They had a grocery store back in the 30s. I'm saying this is late 30s.
Mm-hmm.
Bill, you venture a guess on the year?
This here,
Mm-hmm.
oh, that there's about 38.
Well, you guys are close. The envelope says February 15th, 1940.
pretty close. Tender A spring chickens.
Pool's Happy Hour Store.
Yeah.
Or there are still a couple different holes in town. So I assume some relation maybe to at least one of them.
Well, Tim, for sure.
Well, this was Wibbs. Was his brother Gail in this?
Gail was part of that.
So it's Wibb and Gail, I think.
The envelope says salmon window, and you can see here it says it's salmon time.
Mhm.
Fresh salmon caught out of the Kaskaskia.
And
What kind of
ocean
bothering me, they kind of just threw the cans. They didn't stack them on the shelf. They
Well,
just threw
yeah,
'em.
yeah,
an ocean of health and canned salmon.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Those are Kansas salmon. See, they painted the window with a ocean, a river. They're jumping.
Mhm.
That was they were pathfinders in marketing.
Tender as spring chicken. Yeah, look at the artwork on the window.
13 cans for $3.18. So that was 25 cents a can of salmon. Now it's about 28 cents, isn't it?
Or $28.
I like salmon.
Yeah.
Got a lighthouse over here in the water.
Yeah. I'm telling you, they got clouds up above. They were
We got-
ahead of their time.
Got somebody fishing over here.
Yeah. No, they won all kinds of window advertising awards. Oh, there we go. That's the class of 36 reunion.
Let me check it out.
This is a family.
My goodness.
There's Boyd
gracious.
Wiesner in the second row.
That is Boyd.
1, 2, 3, 4 in from the right. Second
Yeah, and
row
that's
is
Hattie next to him.
Boyd Wiesner and Hattie. And let's look at the back. Look, second one in from the back is Reader,
Oh, that's
Jim Reader.
Reader. This is a Reader family picture.
Yeah, and Jim Reader was
All-American.
Tuscola football player in the 30s, went to U of I and was All-American tackle. Came back home and actually owned the house that Doc Deaver, that Becky and I bought and fixed up. That was at one time Jim Reader's house. And who else we got here? We got some more.
Well, this is, as I said, this would be a Reader family reunion.
I'm looking for Ross.
I'm gonna award 10 points each because the envelope says for Mrs. Reader, group at Wiesner's.
Oh, this is on the farm out on the Route 45.
And they all wore ties and suits again. See, this is,
October 1, 1941.
yeah, Jim Reader is probably about graduated from the U of I. All-American tackle.
You know who Boyd graduated with?
Well,
Viola Fusser.
yeah. Boyd Wiesner, one of the nice guys in Tuscola.
Really good guy.
Looks like Bert Wiesner.
This is a nice little boy. Might be Jim.
Could be Jim Wiesner.
Well, I'm
Be
gonna
somebody
have
else.
Mike the point for jumping on the envelope just says Mrs. Boyd Wiesner. And this is 1949.
It could be Bert.
December 3rd,
Because
1949.
Bert graduated from high school in 64.
Mhm.
Or it could be this one.
Yeah,
That's
Jim.
Jim Wiesner.
Jim was born earlier. Jim, yeah, this is still 49, but Jim's probably about, Bert
7.
was probably about 3 years old and 4, and Jim's probably about 7 or 8.
Yeah.
You guys have earned some points on these.
And there's the Englehart family reunion.
Yeah. We've seen this guy before. He's always,
Always touching,
yeah.
Careful,
Always.
Mike. Careful.
always touching the.
Don't get me sued.
Mm.
Of course, he's probably dead by now.
This
so-
is from Irvin Park, and this is the amphitheater.
You think so? They're all standing though.
Well, they wanted to look and see what was going on.
Well, this is an original Miss Tuscola.
Little Miss Tuscola. But I've got the feeling that if you were to know that virtually everyone in this picture might be gone.
That looks like Jack Allen right there.
Curly headed.
Yeah, and that looks like that head's extra big.
Hmm.
That
What's
looks
it
like,
say?
that looks like Scott Day smile.
Yeah.
There's Ben Hogan.
Okay, this is not Irwin Park.
It's not?
No,
No.
this is a courthouse.
This is 1937 WDZ at Patterson Springs.
Hmm.
Chautauqua?
No,
Yeah,
just
Chautauqua or we got some more pictures from the same envelope.
Okay, we're trying to identify people.
well, it's 37. We're gonna have a toughie.
I know.
Yeah, 37, but
I thought I saw Jack Allen there, but he graduated Newman in about 42, 41.
God, that'd be 87 years ago.
Yeah. There's the guy that drove the cord.
yeah, with the hat slanted or
Yeah,
the
he shot Burmeister. They had him in the crowd right then.
yeah, I think it's pretty safe that these people are no longer with us,
I think.
Well, don't say that. That's
or at least the older ones. The kids, some of the kids might still be around.
yeah. Well, I don't know.
No, I don't know.
I doubt it because
10
this is
years
19
old there, you're 97 now.
yeah, this is the year after my dad was born, and he's 88. So
Wow.
Well,
probably nobody in this picture still alive. It's
this is down
possible,
where
but
Jim Limda's house was. This is his great big 3-acre yard. Wayne Ward lives there now.
be interesting to see if anyone recognizes.
Michener can probably recognize every one of them.
Yeah. Well, he's older.
Well, the pictures aren't great, but
Well, it's they've never been seen before.
got a little sailor hat down here.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think this is our last one.
Well, we were about ready to recognize some of them, but go ahead and fly through it.
Yeah. Well, the picture may be flipped. Otherwise, this kid's got his watch on his right hand.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell sometimes when I scan these which side is up and which side is down.
Well, okay.
The year is 1940.
It's not Randall's.
The envelope says CIPS Company Employees Group.
Oh, okay. This is Gallagher.
Second one from the right, Jim Gallagher. He won the Doofus Award, whatever that award is.
Yeah, I did. He's got something. he's on it.
Jim worked there. Who else would have been there then?
Well, wow. No.
Interesting characters.
Hmm.
There's Jim. With some
I
kind
think we can safely say that those folks are gone.
And that's apparently that's their little mascot.
Yeah, a little electric guy.
Top Point. Cool picture.
That was a fire uptown and one of those Christmas Day fires, don't you
Couldn't
think?
tell if it was fire or snow had collapsed the roof.
Oh, I think it was a fire.
November 6th, 1951, Rayburn Garage, Tuscola, Illinois.
Okay, there's Jim Reeder again, third from left, and there's Boyd Wiesner getting married.
Boyd's getting
And
married.
there's Wayne Neal, fourth from left. Third from left, Jim Reeder, Wayne Neal, Boyd Wiesner.
Wow, what a picture. Boy, I hope his granddaughter, Jenny Brewer, is looking at this.
Isn't that Wayne Neal or not?
That's Wayne Neal. They were buds, graduated together.
You guys are doing well. Point has to go to Mike though, because
Well,
Because I named them all and Bill
crap.
doesn't name anybody. Why?
and you jumped on it first. This is 1940, and the envelope
Jeez.
says Reader Wiesner Wedding.
So did Boyd marry a reader?
Yeah, he married Hattie. Hattie is sister to Big Jim Reeder.
Well, you got to give Bill a point for that, don't you?
Well,
Should.
we can give Bill a point for that.
Well, I'm so far
This
ahead. I'm
guy
feeling
here
good.
looks familiar.
Yeah.
Neat picture.
Wonderful, wonderful family.
Same gal we saw before, I think.
Yeah, but she's smiling now.
So did they have photo gray lenses back then?
I don't know.
You got a name? You got initials?
Yeah, ER.
Oh, that's a reader.
Romine.
Reader.
Mike gets the point. This is Mrs. Edith Reader, 1944.
Boy, you're just tearing it up.
Well, aren't you embarrassed? Oh, here we go.
Now, some of
Here
these
we go.
pictures,
That's the Foggy Bottom brothers came to town.
That's
George
Soggy Mountain Boys.
Soggy Mountain. That's George Clooney in the middle.
Uptown.
I have to warn people that some of these pictures in this set might offend some people today.
That's a Woolworth's 5 and dime.
These are Halloween Festival,
Hmm.
1948. And some of them are in blackface in some of these pictures, which normally I don't include, but you know, it is what it is. That's what they
Well,
they could
that's
use
life.
shoe polish and some costume they could produce at home, and it is what it is.
Now I'm going to do something else here. There's well worth 5 and dime. To the left of it, I think is Chop Rice's Ford garage where I moved to the highway.
And that's an empty lot now.
Empty lot.
And then you've got the telephone company.
Remember when Chop Rice had that downtown?
No,
No, you
no.
weren't here.
Look at these kids
Here,
speaking.
19 what?
This is 1948.
1948.
Where I was born.
Well, I was a year old. I ought to be here somewhere. I was a pretty aggressive kid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's.
I bet we know some of those people, those kids.
Yeah, this is like 48 again.
That looks like the graduating class of 65.
That
to
is.
me.
That is. There's valedictorians holding the fork.
I like how the parents said, "You're not taking that pitchfork out without putting some corn cobs on there to you don't want to stab anybody."
Yeah, that was
Safety
that
first.
was the class dunce.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was Perry Como came down to sing.
Mm-hmm.
Who is that? 48.
Well, I have no idea, but you're right about the Ford
Chop
garage.
Rice.
Yeah.
Chop Rice.
I don't know, but that microphone today would be worth a couple $100.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Looks like you got some pheasant feathers over here.
Hmm.
Used to be a lot of pheasants in this area.
Yeah.
Yes, there were.
You still see a few. I saw some a year or so ago, but you don't see very many anymore.
The hedgerows down. They're trimming all the weeds. They're farming every inch they can get. There's not many places a pheasant can hide. Or
Not around here. Hmm.
well, we shouldn't show that one.
Well, I don't think we can tell who it is, but it is what it is, Mike. It's
These guys would all be in their 80s. That guy looks familiar.
Yeah, he does.
The
look
dark
familiar.
hair.
Looks like what's his name? Youth officer
Charlie Martin.
Charlie Martin.
had the rack wagon downtown to
Yeah.
Mhm.
used as a stage. A lot of people there.
It wasn't always a big deal at school. Remember dressing
Mm-hmm.
up? That was always a special time, wasn't it? Huh.
You know, the old baby buggy.
Pretty young lady.
Initials?
The initials are MP. 1952.
It's not Marion Ponder.
No. Marilyn Palmer.
Hmm.
301 North Main, Tuscola, Illinois.
I lived at 503.
I'm gonna say I'm not sure what house that would be, but be 2 blocks south of you where you lived, Bill, on the same side of the street.
Well, it'd be up there like where Mr. Blackwell lived, and
Well,
then you have the gray house, the little stone house, flat, and then
Bill?
you have Von Lincoln's.
Initials?
This one is not Tuscola. The initials are KU. But it's close enough. I included it, and it's one of those.
Utterback?
Ulrich.
I'm sorry.
Ut or Utterback?
Ulrich is correct. Kenneth Ulrich.
Well, they were Tuscola people, weren't they?
Arcola.
Galton.
Well,
Well,
what's her name?
it depends on which side of the street you're on,
Hausman.
huh?
Marcy's mother was an Ulrich. Clarice Hausman was an Ulrich.
That's right.
She's a Tuscola girl.
March 6, 1944. Which one of you said Ulrich first?
I did.
Well, I think I did.
We'll have to
give it to Bill. Bill's not feeling good today.
review the video on that
I'll
one.
give it to you. Oh, there's
John
Reverend John
John
Jones.
Jones.
Wonderful, wonderful guy. Jack Jones.
You both got it, but Mike was first.
Oh,
1950.
yeah, he's first.
United Church of Christ.
Right
Married,
there on Pembroke Street.
married to Miriam, son Bob, moved up to LaSalle, Peru.
Bob shot at the wrong basket in the 8th grade.
Yeah, let's not talk about it. She worked for Charlie Dawson. Now that come
Oh,
on, we
man,
got this
that
one.
looks terribly familiar. Oh, heavens. Who is that?
Got initials?
RR.
Rankin? Ronnie Rankin?
No.
Too early for that. This picture's from the 50s, I bet.
19. I used my flashlight. 1947.
No.
Reggie Romine.
Wow.
He doesn't look too happy to be wearing that sweater, does he?
No, it was a Christmas gift. What can he do?
Mother made him wear that sweater. And
Made him wear it. Oh, that looks like, is that a Weaver? No. Got some initials?
PT. Let me double check the envelope. Yep, we're on the right.
Said what?
ET?
E.
E?
1944. I like a lot of these old pictures where
Peters?
they would photograph guys before they went off to war.
Teeters, Tipsford, Twyford.
Tommy Thompson.
Tommy Thompson.
Oh,
Oh,
boy.
my goodness. Tommy Thompson graduated in about 38 or 39.
Bill
He
McCarty's
was
uncle.
very prominent farmer. I worked for him. He was slave driver.
Bill McCarty's uncle, wasn't he?
Somehow.
Bill's related to
I'll
him.
tell you what, that old boy was tough. He ended up living in Parkview.
You said ET instead of TT.
TT,
What do you say again?
1944.
Hey, TT or
Well,
ET?
at first I thought he said E.T. and
You
I'm
said
thinking of the
ET.
movie.
You
Yeah.
said ET. Did you say TT?
You better put some batteries in your hearing aids.
Well, better quit, giggling when you're saying this.
Tommy originally lived out in the house where Broach is now.
Yeah. And he built that nice house on the north end of Parkview.
Hmm.
You should have bought it.
I looked at it.
Why didn't you buy it?
Who knows?
Mr. Quick Decision Maker.
Oh, slow. The guy looks familiar.
So is
1943.
Snyder's.
The man's initials on the envelope are CH. C as in couch, H as in Harry. Well, you guys know this.
Well, just give us a second.
What are the oldest names in Tuscola and Douglas County?
Connor.
The last name starts with H. Carl Hackett.
That is Carl.
Oh my gosh. Someone else I worked for.
We always saw him with white hair.
Boy, yeah, white hair. And I'm telling you, if you sat down at the end of a bean row, oh God, and he caught you, you were in trouble. He would walk with you until you dropped.
Hmm.
Well, for 60 cents an hour, you should keep moving.
I guess so. Hmm.
You know this one too. 1943, the initials are RC.
Some sort of Caldwell.
Nope.
Just a minute. RC.
Crossman family.
Earlier in the alphabet.
Give us the first name, we'll get the last.
Rex.
Carmack.
Rex Carmack.
That was a tie, wasn't it?
I was a little quicker.
I don't know. I think Bill may have been just a hair ahead on that one.
Whoa. I was going to give you half credit.
Judge Mershon, you just don't like me, Judge Mershon.
Mhm.
You're a piece of you know what.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Yeah, never mind the 12 jurors that convicted you on all counts, but
What do they know? What do they know?
Your peers. I don't know any of these folks.
well, this is 1957, and it says mailed to H.S. Dawson, 44 Main Street in Champaign. So,
Well, that's really helpful.
Well, it's a good picture.
make bill to Construction Industry Welfare Fund.
Well, chalk that as a minutia. Hey, we should know these folks.
Hang on.
This is the Catholic Church. And this looks like there's Leroy Ron, second from the left. That's either Henry or Leroy Ron.
Looks like Henry.
It is
Henry.
not the Catholic Church.
That's what I did think. So it's the Lutheran Church.
It's the Lutheran Church.
Lutheran Church. And that's a Ron. Roscoe, Henry, or Leroy. We should know all these people here.
1952.
I was married in that church.
Well, that's worth a half point, isn't it?
Who is that?
Well, we should know that one.
I
know.
recognized one person in this picture. Way in the back.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Jesus.
Yes. You get 2 points. Twyla Ron should be in there. I think one of those is Twyla.
Man, look at that fancy wood thing in the back. Now,
Now, was that, the minister could have been, Frecky in 52, could have still been Frecky, Mr. Frecky.
now I've got a little bit of history for you. If you move back towards where the podium is.
That's where you passed out on your wedding day.
Should have. I've got the old lectern from that church.
Did you think it through, that
It's-
wedding?
No. No, I didn't. I was, kind of like buying a lot. Okay,
I almost asked Roscoe Ron.
Careful, you don't get yourself in trouble.
I've been in trouble my whole life. I may still have that.
We know that guy and we know that guy, but I can't think of him right now. Well, that's Operation Crossbow. Sophie Lauren, that would have been 1967.
Oh, Sophia Loren. Now I want to tell you,
Yeah,
is that John Bozar standing outside there?
right there. Looks like he does. It looks like 66.
He's got a date. Is that?
Well, that's what's her
That's
name.
Judy Lewis
Judy Lewis that passed away.
with John Bozarth.
Mhm.
That's about 1965 or 66.
That's what I said.
And I really thought Sophia Loren was,
Overrated,
no, not overrated.
underwhelming.
Oh, she was.
So this is another picture of the Strand that I don't think we've seen too much of.
No,
A few pictures of the Strand out there, but
Judy Lewis was a sweet girl.
Yeah, and John's a good boy. He's an
Down in Florida.
architect.
He's an architect in Florida. Judy was a brain tumor. Died of cancer
Mm.
of the brain.
Montgomery Wards, is that where Gamble's was later, or
At one time, it was Gamble's and then became,
Gates Jewelry one time.
yeah. That's in that, is that where Kelly's shop would be now?
so the Strand is where the newspaper office is now.
Well, Bill, we should be able to get more people since we got
Well, I
Judy.
was thinking that.
Judy
I'm
and
looking
John.
here at, especially at this young lady. This guy I know. I can't think of his name.
It's not Harriet Weatherford. She was your class.
Oh, who is that kid? Nope, not a good picture.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell.
Shenandoah was a great movie.
Jimmy Stewart.
Oh,
That's it.
Shenandoah, I long to hear you. Let me sing some more.
no, was Jimmy Stewart in Shenandoah?
Yeah,
I thought so.
he didn't want his kids. Remember Tony Perkins? He didn't want his kids.
They
to
didn't
go.
want him to go to war.
Right, but the war came to
He
him.
was a pacifist.
The war came to him.
The war came to him.
Yeah, that's the trouble with war.
Yeah.
You don't want war when it comes to you.
You ever see that movie, David?
Shenandoah is a classic.
I don't think so.
It's really good.
Beautiful music, beautiful scenery. David, those are never before seen photos. I've never seen any of them.
No, they've been hiding in these envelopes for decades.
Unbelievable, unbelievable. Now, who had the foresight to save all those envelopes? Because people just used to throw stuff away.
Well, most of these were Pettit photos, and they're in their original envelopes that Pettit had to store them. And
Why'd they
then,
wind up at the newspaper office?
well, Patty Phillips had them, who had a photography studio in town, and
She
then,
owned she
Yeah.
bought the Pettit building there. with
Yeah.
her
that's
photos.
probably how she got them. And then when she died, she left them to Randy Hastings, who was running the newspaper at the time. So that was logical to, and then Randy had them for a long time and never got the time to do anything with them. And so he passed them on to me.
Well, hats off to Randy for keeping them.
Yeah.
You still have all the historic books back there, the old Tuscola reviews.
A lot of them. We're missing some.
Now, the journals, when they tore the journal building down, they just threw those away, didn't they? The journal books.
Well, no, we have a lot of the journal books. We got a lot of the review books. What we don't have are any of the old regional books. If you remember the regional newspaper.
Right.
Yeah,
All those, see, News Gazette had those when they bought the paper and had moved them over to a different building. And then when they shut that paper down, the word I heard is that they threw them all in the trash.
Yeah. I never did like that. During that period of time was bad.
Mm-hmm.
They had a reputation of, what's that right there?
nothing.
They had a reputation of buying up small weeklies like Monticello and Tolono and then turned them into advertisers. You know, they really lost all the news.
Yeah, they bought the at that time would have been the review. And so that's when Bev restarted the journal up. And then wasn't too long, News Gazette folded the review.
Well, they made a mistake. They took on Bev Hastings.
That would be a mistake. And then the journal then sold to Better Newspapers. And then I started the review back up, competing with the journal. And then they eventually bought me out, and now it's the County Chronicle.
Well, you've done great public service for the town, David. Coming back to start the review and then
Yes,
all this work you're doing with this newspaper and these photos is you're becoming a fixture.
Our sponsored, by the way, this week are Trust Bank and Elite Builders.
Has
thank you.
their business doubled or tripled since
Oh,
Belmont took our name?
I'm
We put
sure
our-
it has.
We put our personalities out there. We sway a lot, don't we?
Oh, we sway. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're swaying. We're swaying.
David, I just can't believe how many pictures there are. I just can't believe.
I think
the
it's
number.
wonderful.
You're saying
I'm
there's
enjoying it.
10,000 more?
Well, I mean, I haven't even gotten to the 35 millimeter, and
Wow.
there's probably 10,000 of those.
I just hope there's pictures of us.
Well, I got to warn you, David, I don't know if Bill and I can live long enough.
Well, I've got to buy a scanner that will scan the 35 millimeter. The way I'm doing these with my phone does not work on the 35 millimeter. They're too small.
You're actually, now wait a minute. So you told us, you wrote an article about this one time. So you got these huge 7-inch negatives, 8-inch negatives. And what do you do? You contrast print them?
What I do is I put up a blank Word file on my computer screen, and I turn the backlight up all the way. So it's a bright white light on my computer screen. Then I take the negative and I put it on up against my computer screen, so it's backlit. And then I take a picture of it
Wow.
with my cell phone, and then I transfer it to my computer and use Photoshop to reverse the image. So when it's on my computer or on my phone, it looks like that. I send it to the computer, and I reverse the image to make it a positive instead of a negative. And
Every photo you do that with,
every one of them.
that takes what, a couple minutes, 5 minutes on each one?
Then I put it in Lightroom and crop it, edit it, enhance it a little bit.
10 minutes?
Do these pictures that you just saw today took me a couple hours.
So it's a good 10, 15 minutes, almost 10 minutes a photo almost then. At least 5.
Yeah, I mean, when you consider everything together, you got to take the pic. It doesn't take much to snap the It goes pretty fast. Put them on the screen, take a picture, move on, go to the next one. And then when I reverse them to make them positive, I do that. That's automated on Photoshop. So I do them all at once. So the computer just sits there and does it automatically while I can go and do something else. So then the editing is the part that takes the long time.
I thought Roscoe Ron was there. David, do you lose, I've asked you this, and I forgot the answer. Do you lose much pixel strength when you go from these unbelievably big negatives to your
Well,
camera?
anytime you take a picture of a picture, you're gonna lose something. And my phone actually is a pretty high resolution camera. So it's not as good as making a print on paper, but that would be very expensive and
If a guy wanted to do
time consuming.
if a guy wanted to do a coffee table book of Tuscola history photos from these big negatives, you would just actually print the negative then.
Well, I would probably just use the electronic files that I have, because to print to make a print of, some of the negatives, I don't know if you can tell, they're warped. They're this one's not too bad. But there you can see the dull side, that's the emulsion side. This is the front. Sometimes it's harder to tell. But yeah, it would be
How would you print that?
well, you'd have to do it in a dark room with photo paper and light and chemicals, and it'd be very expensive to do today.
Right, the old fashioned way of dragging them through solution and hanging them up to dry and everything.
Well, first of all, nobody has a working dark room anymore.
Yeah, well, with the heat wave we're having, that'll be fixed pretty soon. We'll all be without electricity. Well, that's
So
wonderful. I just
it's
think
really
that,
not feasible to make prints of all these.
but we're still saving the negatives, and they don't degrade. They don't degrade much from 50, 60, 80
Not,
years.
not terribly. I mean, there are negatives that exist. Back in the 1860s, they were on glass. And so there are negatives of President Lincoln that are still in existence, still in pretty good shape.
Well, Douglas County Courthouse, the dedication with Uncle Joe Cannon, in the supervisor's room, they've got about 5 or 6 36-inch blow-up pictures of Uncle Joe Cannon speaking to the crowd, and they're crystal clear at 2 by 3, 2 foot by 3 foot. They're crystal clear. Those were glass prints that Noel Dix had that got in the hands of the photographer and Arthur that gave them to the county. Oh, we had him on this. We had Jones. Jones gave them to the county, and they professionally printed them. And those were glass negatives, and I can't believe the resolution of those is tremendous.
Well, the bigger the negative, the higher the quality of the print. And that's why the 35 millimeter, I can't do it with this camera because they're too small. When you blow them up, they're pixelized, and we're gonna either have to have a better scanner or
you buy a little. I had a rangefinder that was a kind of a macro specialty rangefinder. I could take a photo of a stamp. Right at the Tuscola history football thing. I was getting pictures 1 inch wide. I could zero in on it. Had a stabilizer thing. It's wonderful. I can't believe what they got in a little rangefinder, Olympus.
Yeah. Well, this has a macro lens on it. I can take the picture, but the thing is, when you're taking a negative that's this big and you're blowing the image up, to this big, any little imperfection is going to magnify. And so with these pictures, I'm taking a negative that's this big, and I'm making an electronic file that is basically the same size, maybe a little bigger. So it's just a much better quality when you got the bigger negative.
When Bill and I die, can you Photoshop out our bags under our eyes and stuff like that?
Well, I don't think I'll be around. You said you wanted to be a pallbearer at my funeral.
Well, I do. I hope you live to 200 and I give the eulogy, honestly.
Yeah. Except
or
I'm,
Peggy, as some call
except I
it.
don't intend to have a funeral. I intend to donate my body to science.
Well, you ought to donate to the Cigar Association of America.
I figure it's a really good specimen of science. Would be happy to have it.
Well, nobody wants any part of my body, I can tell you right now, or my blood. How about you?
No,
Anybody want your hips or knees?
no, I don't think so.
You want the
I'm-
bad
Also,
hips?
I'm
bad
also an organ donor. So if I die and someone else can use my eyes or my internal organs, take them.
Well, I think it works for young kids or healthy people like you. Bill and I think it's a kiss of death to give them anything from our
Mm.
bodies.
I don't think they want anything.
Yeah. I'd take your golf clubs. That'd be about it.
Well, I'm looking for a new putter, so.
Well, David, everything going, I saw your paper. You had, the new owner was in there,
New publisher. Mhm.
publisher.
Yeah, new publisher, and you got a
And
new editor.
Did it transition seamlessly so far?
Yeah, it hasn't made any difference for me.
Good.
I went to the library and saw Mrs. Porter the other day.
Does the
She
new
was
pu-
working.
Does the new publisher highly value Bill and I and you doing this thing?
Well, I haven't seen him since he took over, so I don't know.
The soccer coach.
Well, tell him it's actually the number one draw.
Yeah.
We're up in the tens.
Well, we can thank Trust Bank and Elite Builders
Well, thank them. Yes.
Well,
because they're providing some sponsorship that keeps this going. And if we didn't have that, there's a really good chance that we would not be able to continue to digitize these photos and
I
bring.
think Bill, I think if it got down to shutting her down, Bill
I could loan
will
money.
kick in some
Yeah, I'll
money.
kick in the money.
Yeah. I'll match Bill $1 for every 5 he puts in.
One of your feature writers had a wonderful piece in the Gazette the other day on a young man that originally was from Arcola. McDonald was his name.
Oh, the Arcola historian.
Yes, Carolyn Cloyd. It's a wonderful writer.
Yeah.
Yep, they're yeah, they keep stealing my writers. They got Mike Carroll in there once in a while.
But this said in her bio that
Buckley.
she wrote for
What?
your paper.
You what, David?
Yeah. They said they got Mike Carroll once in a while and Pete Buckley. And now they got Carolyn Cloyd once in a while.
Well, Pete gives them to you and then he sends them champagne.
Mhm.
Pete's sentimental.
You're still getting Pete's.
Well, I'm still getting Carolyn's too.
Yeah.
And we had Mike Carroll in there this week.
Yeah. Well, I don't see where you got any room anymore. You got so many writers. You got probably what, 9 people writing for you?
I got more columns than I need, that's for sure.
Yeah, so you don't need me. And I was always a headache. I was always too long and a hard case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you got rid of a headache. Well, Bill and I are gonna go outside and maybe run some wind sprints, dig some,
Yeah.
work in the yard,
How about if we run up and down these
hills.
fairways?
We're gonna
up
try and
down the
we're gonna try and
hills?
work up a little sweat today.
Won't take much.
Now, is your room nice and comfortable back there?
Yeah, I had to turn on the vent to get a little air conditioning in here.
Well, everybody stay cool. It's gonna get blistering hot. Isn't it pretty early for it to be this hot, Bill?
Absolutely. But in 1954, there were records set for heat in Tuscola.
Well, how about 37?
I wasn't here, but 54, I remember some of the heat because we lived upstairs.
I don't
in the
remember
apartment.
in June having 105 degrees.
We didn't have, no,
Yeah.
I mean, for the most part, we did.
Yeah,
Although 54, there was a bad streak in there. of
Yeah.
Heat.
normally it's August, it just bakes you.
You'd
So-
go to George Barber's drive-in theater to
Yeah.
cool off.
Yes, you would at nighttime.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's a wrap. What do you think?
You know.
Got it. We're done.
We enjoy it so much. We just hate to leave you, but thank you, David. We appreciate it.
I hate
Thanks
to
for-
leave too.
Okay,
Have a
Dave.
good day, David.
We'll see you next week on Remembering Tuscola.